It's so good to see you again. I know that you'll be watching many book presentations over the next few weeks, but I hope that the next few minutes will be the most engaging of all. Glory, glory, it's time for our Engaging 8 story. Our Engaging 8 story doesn't start off by me mentioning the fact that Engaging 8 follows the aprendizagens essenciais and the perfil dos alunos, and that it has been divided into 5 units with 3 short subunits, so that you can always cumprir the planificação anual, regardless of whether you are teaching in terms or in semesters. Neither does it start by mentioning that the workbook follows the student's book and that it has all the rubrics that we love, like songs, videos, and lots of listening practice, and that it has been upgraded and contains new rubrics, like the engaging pages with the reading tips to help our students develop their English skills autonomously. This year, it can be projected with or without the answer keys. You choose what's best for your students. And although the teacher's file is one of the project's protagonists, our Engaging 8 story also doesn't start off by mentioning that the teacher's file this year is bem gordinho, with everything that our teacher's heart could desire, like 3 tests per unit and 10-minute mini-tests, so that you can choose the best way to evaluate your students. And naturally, we didn't forget the rubrics, so that evaluating students with Engaging 8 is easy peasy. So, how exactly does our Engaging 8 story start? Well, it starts with 3 engaging authors who are passionate about teaching English and who wanted to solve 3 big challenges in the EFL classroom. Would you like to know what they are? Well, the first one is one that we have all been experiencing to a greater or lesser extent for a while now. Have you noticed how students aren't as enthusiastic as they used to be a few years ago to learn English? Well, we noticed this too. And so we decided to include a few secret learning ingredients in Engaging 8 to help lure the students back to the pleasure of learning English. Basically, we have organized learning in such an engaging way in Engaging 8 that the students will be doing the types of activities that they love, like watching videos related to the texts that they read or listening to catchy songs so that they can learn to love English. After all, we all know what happens when we do what we love. Time flies by and we learn without even realizing it, right? And if we are speaking about presenting learning in a way that students love, naturally we have to invest in digital resources, which we can use in our classrooms or which the students can use at home, on their smartphones or computers, to practice what we teach them. We have included a gamified approach to Engaging 8 by including things like the Quiz EV, which is our Kahoot, fun games, karaokes, videos, songs, interactive exercises, which you can correct one at a time, and so much more. Let's take a sneak peek at a Quiz EV in action, shall we? I can just imagine using this in the classroom, can't you? It's fun and easy to use. Now, I have some good news for you this year. Last year, you told us that sometimes you had trouble accessing Escola Virtual at school. So this year we have a novidade. Listen up because this is a good one. This year you can access the Manual Digital on any device and in any format you want. Online, offline, or you can even download it and have it on a pen drive, ready to use whenever you want to. So, that was our first core worry, making sure that students found learning English engaging. Now let's move on to Chapter 2 of our Engaging 8 story. Have you noticed how many, or should I say, how most of our teens don't like to read nowadays? Well, we noticed this too, and we think that this is a problem for two reasons. Firstly, studies have shown that all good students have one thing in common. And you know what that is, right? Exactly. They all read. Then, as we English teachers know, texts are the heart of any English book. So if our students don't like to read, Houston, we have a problem. Wouldn't you agree? So what have we done in Engaging 8 to engage our teenagers to read? Well, the first thing we did was some serious research to create engaging real-world texts about topics that our teens can actually relate to, and then research further if they want to. Notice how we have included some engaging post-reading activities, like videos, which we all know that our students love to watch. Then, thanks to your wonderful feedback, we have included the animated videos of the texts again, so that the students can read without even realizing that they are doing so. This is the perfect way to develop their reading and listening skills at the same time. It's like working on two skills for the price of one. Have a look at what I mean.
Becoming a pro before turning sweet 16. By Andrew Wilger. Ever heard the idiom, act your age? Well, today's story is about three teens who think that age is just a number like any other.
And to guarantee that our students have all the practice they need to ace the questions in the test, we decided to include a new rubric in the workbook, a reading listening page that teaches them all the reading tricks they need to know to ace reading exercises. Notice how the whole page is carefully scaffolded so that even weaker students can get it right. But our Engaging 8 novelties don't end here. This year, we have created a double culture page, which offers an inter and intra approach to developing culture. You'll notice that we have always included a bridge to Portuguese culture, so that students can learn to speak about their own culture in English. Isn't this empowering? If you look closely, you'll also see that we have included mini reading texts to engage all types of students to read, especially weaker ones. And finally, we always work on the 21st century skills by engaging students to create a project at the end of the unit. Notice how we always provide two options, a creative project and a cross-curricular project, so that you can do the articulação curricular in an easy-peasy way. We know that you will choose the most engaging option for your students, and you know that we have included the planificação for the articulação curricular in the teacher's file, so that articulating really is easy peasy. I'm very excited to tell you about our next reading novelty that I'm really passionate about. You know how much I love to go and read for your students, don't you? Well, this year we have included a reading for pleasure rubric so that we can engage them to develop the I love reading baixinho. We have always chosen extracts of novels for teens that are related to the topics of each unit. And we always close the reading experience by engaging the students to make a creative project of their own. You can, of course, choose to do this or not, depending on your students and the time you have. Time flies by, and so it's time to move on to part 3 of our engaging 8 story. This time we decided to attack a really big and difficult challenge, as I'm sure that you will agree. Over the last few years, how many times have we had to admit that we don't have the time to develop the production skills as much as we'd like to? Too many to count, right? Are you curious to see what engaging approaches we have come up with for these skills? Let me show you. Well, because many schools in the 8th year only have 2 tempos per week, we wanted writing to be a very carefully scaffolded activity that students could do step by step on their own, because we really don't have much time in the classroom. This is why we have created a new double writing spread in subunit 2. As you can see, we have divided each writing task into 3 simple steps. In step 1, the students think about and brainstorm what they want to write about. In step 2, we give them help with the language functions and structures that they need to follow. And in step 3, we give them a frame text so that they can't go wrong when they start writing. And the cherry on top of the cake is the writing checklist to guarantee that we help them catch those silly mistakes that they always make. Because we know that our students love watching YouTube videos to learn new things, we also give them writing tutorial videos for them to watch in class or at home, so that they have their personal explicador to teach them how to write well.
Let's learn how to write an article for your school newspaper. Are you ready? Let's go. Imagine you have to write an article about the perfect school outfits for your school newspaper. How can you give your readers some fashion tips? Well, just follow these 4 simple writing steps. Let's start off by thinking about what you want to say. You may want to watch a video or 2 to get inspiration and ideas for your article. Jot down any fashion tips you could use in your article. Now, let's think about the introduction. Begin your article with an interesting opening sentence, something catchy for your reader's attention, like, "Want to find out how to look your best at school? Well then, read on." Time to think about some expressions to sequence your fashion tips. Expressions such as these. Firstly, this is why I recommend that you. Another useful tip is, so you should. Finally, might come in handy. You are almost ready to write your article. All you need now is to organize your text, so follow this writing template. Include a title. Of course, a strong opening sentence in paragraph 1. Fashion tips in the 2 middle paragraphs, and a conclusion in the last paragraph. Let's start with the title, Keeping Trendy at School. Add your opening sentence. Want to find out how to look your best at school? Well then, read on. Move on to the next paragraph and give your first tip. Nowadays, everyone is into quality, but quality pieces are usually expensive. So focus on style and how affordable an item is. Give examples of 2 items of clothing. Use an expression to sequence your ideas. This is why I recommend that you wear some nice, tailored jeans and fitted t-shirts. You can never go wrong with these. Now, move on to the 3rd paragraph and give your second tip. You should buy stylish clothes. Add a connector, like, but, or although, to show contrast. Although you don't need to spend a fortune, try buying at fast fashion stores. They sell stylish but cheap items. Now, on to the last tip. Finally, sell what you don't wear. You can invest that extra money in better pieces to upgrade your wardrobe. Now, all you have to do is to write your closing sentence. So what's the moral of today's article? Well, it's really simple. Focus on affordable style and fit to be well dressed and look your best at school. And that's a wrap. Writing an article for your school newspaper is easy peasy. Don't you agree?
And finally, in the back of the workbook, in the Writers and Speakers Corner, we give them extra scaffolding to make sure that we catch every student, including our weaker students, at being good at writing. Now all we need to do is to invent a techie gadget that will correct the writing tasks for you. Ah, isso que era bom, verdade? Now, what about speaking? How are we going to tackle this elephant in the Engaging 8 classroom of 30 students or more? Well, Isabel, João and I wanted to guarantee that the students felt that speaking in English was easy peasy. This is why we have built all the units so that the students always use the target vocabulary that they are learning to do the speaking tasks in the book. If you take a closer look, you'll notice just how carefully scaffolded they are. And to guarantee that the speaking presentations in your classes are amazing, this year we have created a new tool. It's called the Speaking Teleprompter, and it literally teaches students to create a well-organized speaking presentation step by step. The best thing about this is that it is inclusive. This means that the students can choose to create their presentations from 3 different levels. Level 1 is easy. Level 2 is normal. And level 3 challenges our good students to shine. Now, everyone can get it right if they try. Let's take a closer look at this in action, shall we?
Ace your students' presentations at school. Speaking in front of a class can be a daunting, nerve-wracking task. Have your students practice their presentation skills in a safe environment to build their confidence and fluency. Let them watch a model. Video clips featuring real students provide achievable speaking role models that increase motivation. Empower the students. Let them choose how to proceed, what to do. Our spoken production tool features adapted activities for the level and confidence of your students. If your students get nervous about speaking, a script might be their best friend. If they feel confident about a task, text prompts might just be enough. Let them go beyond the task at hand if they are presentation aces. Regardless of the level chosen, integrated tips on body language are provided to help them succeed. Students can rehearse, record themselves, and play back as many times as they want to improve their performance. And once they feel confident they nailed it, they can share their recordings with you. Opportunities for guided production are sometimes difficult to come by in the classroom. With this engaging spoken production tool, it's not a matter of if they'll get better, but when they get better.
Now, this is a tool that is going to make a difference in our engaging classrooms. Wouldn't you agree? And thanks to your feedback, in the back of the workbook, in the Writers and Speakers corner, we have included the speaking cards again to make sure that our students look professional when they present in class. But what about us teachers? Well, we have some engaging treats for you too. The hot speak out activities with extra speaking activities for your students. Then, we also know that students need to train speaking for the test and that you can't take any photocopies. So we have created the engaging speaking practice box to make sure that every student can practice in class without you needing to photocopy a single thing. Our Engaging 8 story is coming to an end, but there are still a few more things that I'd like to show you. Starting with the fact that we have included all the important resources in the student's book so that the students can't lose or forget anything at home. So, in the student's book, they have the engaging verb wheel to help them learn their English tenses, the festivity pages, the extensive reading, and the study guide. This year, the study guide is bem gordinho, so that the students can really learn how to be autonomous and to study English. It starts with the engaging dictionary that has all the highlighted yellow words in the student's book, so that our students can look them up for themselves, and we can have the time that we need to help those students that really need us. But we have also included word lists for every unit, so that the students have all the vocabulary that they need to study for the test in one place. Naturally, we have included the grammar explanations in Portuguese. And in our teacher's version, we've also included the suggested answers. Because, well, if we're honest, we don't always have the time to prepare everything as well as we'd like to. As well as the listening scripts, just in case technology gets a little creative. if you know what I mean. In the actual student's book, this year we give you 2 extensive reading options. The Saga, so that you can do the articulação curricular with Portuguese, and Exposer, which is a really cool story by Paul Jennings. We have also included the animated extensive reading videos so that I can read to your students whenever you want me to. But don't worry, you can still invite me to go and read live at your school. Let's have a look. Hello, I'm Vanessa Steeves, and today I'm going to be reading Chapter 1, entitled Hans's Dream, of Saga by Sophia de Mello Briner Anderson. This is the story of a boy named Hans who is from Vig, an island that has a deep bond with the sea, like Hans does. The sea has always been a part of his life and dreams since he was young. First, it violently took his uncles Gustav and Niels's lives. Then, the biggest ship in Vig, the Elsinore, was shipwrecked. One of the problems that we all have is that not every student buys the workbook. But they need the workbook to practice so that they can do well in the test. This is why this year we have created the English homework practice that comes with the student's book to make sure that every student can study for the test without having to buy anything else. And speaking about tests, we've also made sure that you have the tools you need to make the best tests for your students. Look at how your engaging fairies have been working hard for you. In the teacher's file, we give you 3 tests, plus 30 mini-tests, which you can use to substitute the respective sections in the tests. This means that it's easy peasy for you to make new versions of the tests. And to make sure that it's almost impossible for the Centros de Estudos to guess which test you are going to give, we have once again provided the test generator, which creates another 3 leveled texts that you can mix and match to create lots and lots of tests. All you need to do is to decide whether you want to give a digital or a paper test. The other headache that we've solved are the rubrics. Enjoy your holiday because we have created them all just for you. So, what type of project is Engaging 8? Well, it's a project that is easy to teach and learn with. It has lots of new resources, like the Speaking Teleprompter, and it's great for all students. So, you know what I'm going to say next, don't you? Glory, glory, come and join our Engaging 8 story. Bye for now.
Olá, colegas! Há cerca de um ano fomos convidadas a sonhar como professoras e como autoras de um projeto novo para a disciplina de Inglês do 8º ano. Mas como são afinal os sonhos de professores? São sonhos nos quais os nossos alunos nos desafiam a fazer mais e melhor? São vontade de resolver questões do dia-a-dia da escola e da sala de aula que nos inquietam? São um enorme desejo de termos connosco alunos mais felizes e motivados que aprendem efetivamente inglês e superam obstáculos, aula a aula, ano após ano. Foi com este mote que criamos o projeto Dream 8. Pretendemos que ele seja a ferramenta de trabalho completa, desafiante para todos, alunos e professores. Queremos que colegas compreendam tudo o que sonhamos para a nossa disciplina de eleição. Mas antes temos de partilhar convosco o que é o Dream 8 e aqui é também um projeto para os nossos alunos de hoje. Ele dá uma resposta organizada, flexível, inovadora, interessante, reflexiva e promotora da autonomia dos nossos alunos. Eles vão encontrar no Dream 8 um manual que espelha as suas vivências, os seus gostos, os seus interesses, os seus estilos de vida e vão perceber que a aula de inglês será um lugar de trabalho árduo, mas colaborativo, interessante e com visão de futuro, um futuro que necessariamente passará por falar, ouvir, compreender, ler e escrever em língua inglesa por onde quer que se encontre neste mundo global. Como qualquer professor de inglês, quando começamos a trabalhar neste projeto, pensamos nos seus componentes. Fizemos um brainstorming daquilo que tinha de estar no Dream 8, o que era efetivamente um must-have. Sabíamos que teria de dar resposta a uma série de necessidades. Ora, o Students' Book estaria naturalmente dividido em unidades temáticas de acordo com as aprendizagens essenciais, o quadro europeu comum de referência para as línguas e as áreas de competência previstas no perfil do aluno à saída da escolaridade obrigatória. Um workbook dividido nas mesmas unidades temáticas do manual e teria um conjunto de exercícios para treino e sistematização dos conteúdos. O Teacher's File, o dossiê de professor, necessariamente incluiria a agenda de professor, com material para todas as suas turmas, planificações anuais, planos de aula, diversas fichas de trabalho e, obviamente, testes. E a Dreambox disponibilizaria flashcards. Contudo, depois de uma good night's sleep, concluímos que tínhamos em nós todos os sonhos do mundo e tínhamos necessariamente de fazer mais e melhor. Então o projeto Dream 8 é composto por estes elementos que juntos farão a diferença na vida dos professores e alunos. É um projeto atento à organização e flexibilidade curriculares. Promove a inovação pelos temas e pela forma como os aborda e o interesse, já que é sem dúvida um manual dos nossos dias que faz sentido hoje e continuará a fazer sentido amanhã. Apresenta um foco claro no desenvolvimento das 21st Century Skills e que encoraja a autorregulação e promove a autonomia dos nossos alunos. É um projeto único, adequado às diferentes formas de trabalhar de cada professor e pensado para cada tipo diferente de alunos e estilos de aprendizagem. É um projeto amigo do aluno e, sem dúvida, um braço direito do professor. Aquele que auxiliará o nosso trabalho em todos os momentos e que nos ajudará a equilibrar o nosso dia-a-dia. Vamos então conhecer o projeto Dream 8.
Students' Book. Apostamos numa organização simples e intuitiva, divisão em 3 unidades temáticas abrangentes, cada uma com 4 subunidades, sendo que a última unidade tem apenas 3. Esta divisão está pensada na fácil e cómoda adaptação do manual às 2 organizações escolares possíveis, por períodos escolares ou por semestres. Assim, caso se esteja a trabalhar por períodos, o manual apresenta uma unidade por período. No caso das escolas que organizam o ano escolar por semestres, o manual adapta-se intuitivamente a 6 subunidades para o primeiro semestre, para além da unidade 0, e 5 subunidades para o segundo. Os separadores das 3 unidades temáticas surgem numa página dupla, na qual os alunos encontram o que irão aprender, imagens apelativas relativas a cada subunidade para explorar em whole class com o professor e também um pequeno quiz de ativação de pré-conhecimentos que pode ser jogado no manual ou então em quiz EV. Apostamos no interesse, validade e atualidade dos conteúdos. Abertura das subunidades com vocabulário apresentado de forma interessante, com listenings e vídeos motivadores que apresentam linguagem verdadeira em contextos reais de comunicação. Os pré-conhecimentos e os conteúdos-alvo da unidade são assim elicitados e apreendidos de forma interessante. Apresentação de textos significativos e atuais, de tipologias variadas, com locução standard e slow. Em todas as subunidades surgem animações de texto que facilitam a compreensão do que é lido e apelam a todos os estilos de aprendizagem. Gramática contextualizada e apresentada de forma intuitiva, alicerçada por PowerPoints e recursos digitais inovadores. Scaffolded Speaking and Writing. Houve um cuidado especial e um investimento enorme na orientação do aluno, na sua produção e interação oral e escrita. Existe uma especial atenção ao fornecer useful language e um modelo que os alunos seguirão para falarem e ou escreverem sem obstáculos e com sucesso pleno. O mesmo tipo de orientação está presente também no workbook e na Dreambox. Sonhamos ainda com flexibilidade e personalização. Temos então as Keep Dreaming Pages no final de cada unidade, pensadas para turmas com mais tempos semanais ou para fast learners. Aqui, os alunos poderão dar um passo à frente em relação a matérias de use of English e também de vocabulário. Para os dreamers mais ávidos, que precisam de maiores desafios, estas páginas representam esse input que os faz sonhar ainda mais alto. School Days and Festivities. O manual apresenta não só as festividades típicas dos países de expressão inglesa, mas integra igualmente School Days, eventos escolares interessantes e motivadores que têm muitas vezes lugar nas nossas escolas, mas que não constavam dos manuais escolares. Assim, integramos no Dream 8 atividades sobre European Day of Languages, Earth Hour e o Spelling Bee. Em 6 anos de adoção de um manual, o professor deve ter a liberdade de explorar diferentes eventos escolares e festividades ao sabor da sua criatividade e do interesse das suas turmas. Privilegiamos a avaliação formativa, o feedback ao aluno, a autorregulação, rumo à autonomia crescente de quem aprende. A par dos testes formativos surge a inovação, a Dream Feedback Table. É fundamental que os alunos tenham plena consciência do seu processo de aprendizagem, sendo capazes de perceber o que estão a aprender, como estão a aprender e o que podem fazer para potenciar e melhorar o seu desempenho. Portanto, a cada 2 subunidades terão a oportunidade de testar os seus conhecimentos através de testes formativos, seguidos de tabelas de feedback, as Dream Feedback Tables. Estas convidam a 3 pequenos passos: Stop, Think and Act. Com elas, o aluno monitoriza o que aprendeu, desenvolve o sentimento de controlo e regulação sobre o que aprende e o que ainda precisa de aprender, o que lhe permite um envolvimento direto através de processos cada vez mais eficazes de autorregulação. Para facilitarmos este percurso, disponibilizamos na própria tabela remissões para as páginas do manual e do Practice File, onde encontram os conteúdos a rever. Investimos nas soft skills, entre elas o critical thinking. Se queremos que os nossos alunos se transformem em pensadores críticos, precisamos de envolvê-los em atividades interativas focadas nos temas nos quais têm interesse. O nosso projeto encoraja o pensamento crítico e reflexivo, pois cria momentos de construção e de desconstrução de ideias, de opiniões, de posições relativas a temas atuais e significativos e, assim, serão capazes de organizar os seus pensamentos de forma coerente e de se expressar com precisão, evitando julgamentos precipitados e tornando-os capazes de abordar os problemas sob diferentes ângulos e perspectivas. Incentivamos o domínio intercultural e a competência estratégica do PASEO, integrando no manual Cross-Curriculum Projects, PASEO Challenges e Intercultural Spots. O Dream 8 apresenta-se como um manual atual que pretende ser uma resposta integrada também no domínio intercultural. E apesar deste ser trabalhado de forma transversal, foram criadas páginas apelativas que permitem dinâmicas diferentes nas aulas de inglês. Estes momentos de projetos interdisciplinares, de interculturalidade ou então de desafios PASEO permitem elevar e expandir o conhecimento da língua inglesa, ao mesmo tempo que pensam no aluno conhecedor, informado, criativo, investigador e colaborador. Um aluno do mundo de hoje, melhor preparado para o amanhã. Promovemos o gosto pela leitura em língua inglesa. Temos uma extensive reading, uma short story cativante de fácil leitura, escrita por Paul Jennings, com um final inesperado e um vilão empático que fará os nossos alunos ler com prazer. Através de ilustrações especificamente criadas para o Dream 8, a short story The Strapbox Flyer é sempre acompanhada de exercícios de compreensão, before, while, after reading, que permitem aos alunos acompanhar os acontecimentos de forma guiada e perceber passo a passo a extensive reading que de certo os inspirará. Teacher's File. O Teacher's File está organizado em 5 separadores muito funcionais que permitem ao professor aceder de forma bastante rápida e intuitiva a todos os materiais disponíveis. Destacamos então os separadores, organizados por unidade temática de acordo com a estrutura do próprio manual, onde o professor tem acesso a todos os materiais especificamente daquela unidade, como, por exemplo, fichas de trabalho sobre vocabulary, use of English, reading comprehension, listening comprehension, todas com a versão standard, A, e inclusiva, a B, e ainda também fichas sobre school days and festivities, diferentes daquelas que estão no manual. Nos separadores das unidades temáticas encontram-se múltiplas propostas para avaliação rápida, em jeito de questão de aula, a qual chamamos speed tests. 4 por cada subunidade, com objetivos aplicáveis, de fácil correção e que permitem um rápido feedback para os alunos e para os professores. Aqui encontram-se também testes sumativos, elaborados por domínios, com 2 versões, a A e a B, matrizes de correção, critérios de avaliação detalhados, para que corrigir seja o mais objetivo e o mais simples possível, a par das grelhas de registro das classificações. Outro separador para o qual chamamos a vossa atenção é o dos projetos Cross Curriculum, Intercultural Spot e Paseo, onde colocamos as respectivas planificações, tabelas de observação e de avaliação para apoiar todas as atividades propostas no manual. Toda a documentação de apoio para as diferentes rubricas de avaliação, com versões para o aluno e para o professor, com linguagem específica para cada um, surge num separador próprio e está dividida em Speaking, Writing e Projects DAC Paseo. Trimbox. Esta box está organizada e de uma forma muito funcional. Destacamos cartões de Writing e Speaking de acordo com os exercícios propostos no manual, scaffolded, de forma a poderem ser usados na sala de aula, quer em momentos de interação, quer de produção. Spelling Bee Cards, numa proposta divertida de revisão dos vários conteúdos da disciplina, flashcards, com imagens relativas ao vocabulário das 3 unidades temáticas do manual. Todos estes cartões estarão disponíveis em formato digital. Nos ambientes de aprendizagem modernos, quer os professores, quer os alunos fazem uso pleno da tecnologia digital. E pode dizer-se que dificilmente veremos uma sala de aula totalmente desconectada. Por isso, o nosso projeto dá resposta às necessidades dos professores na tarefa de envolver e estimular os alunos fazendo uso de ferramentas digitais atuais, significativas e interessantes. No manual digital temos ficheiros áudio, testes, jogos, entre outros. Temos também EV Stories, Escape Rooms, Animated Texts, Videos, exercícios de Speed Recognition, Audio Files, PowerPoints, Quiz EV e versões de karaoke.
We need to work on our science project today, otherwise we won't have time to finish it. Let's go to the computer room.
Here, we can create the virtual layout of that green and sustainable place that we have to convert.
You are stuck inside this computer, in your own precious green space, with no clean getaway.
Can you help them get out of the computer? Gather the necessary items and solve challenges to succeed. Their fate depends on you.
O workbook apresenta uma panóplia de exercícios para treino e consolidação da competência oral e escrita, quer na interação, quer na produção. Há necessidade de incentivar cada vez mais o treino de competências como listening e watching. Assim, colocamos no workbook atividades para exploração de vídeos, filmes e músicas atuais, interessantes e significativas para os nossos alunos. Porque o workbook não é mais do mesmo. Tivemos uma preocupação constante no treino orientado, scaffolded, quer de produções orais, quer de competências escritas. Por isso mesmo, no workbook, os alunos são desafiados a pensarem, falarem e escreverem sobre os mesmos temas das unidades do manual, mas com propostas distintas que os ponham à prova e que os orientem de forma segura e estruturada. À semelhança do manual, também o workbook apresenta testes formativos, com todos os domínios, seguidos de Dream Feedback Tables, para que os nossos alunos tenham ao seu dispor mais momentos para rever, consolidar e de autorregulação. A rúbrica Critical Thinking é igualmente trabalhada em momentos-chave no workbook. Em relação ao Dream Practice File, este encontra-se anexado no fim do manual e tem à direita glossários importantes, listas de vocabulário em inglês e português, devidamente organizadas pelas mesmas unidades temáticas, bem como explicações gramaticais também em ambas as línguas. As remissões nas páginas do manual permitem ao aluno aceder ao Practice File, onde pode desenvolver um trabalho autónomo e de reforço. À esquerda, pode realizar exercícios extra, sempre acompanhados por soluções para que, mais uma vez, a autonomia de quem aprende seja incentivada. Tudo no manual do aluno e não em separado. O Pocket Fun File. Aprender e estudar podem e devem ser significativos e divertidos para os alunos. Oferecemos com este pequeno livro uma nova oportunidade de praticar os conhecimentos adquiridos com exercícios lúdicos, mas rigorosos. Visualmente é apelativo, permitindo a consolidação do vocabulário introduzido nas aulas e a apropriação de conteúdos interculturais novos e interessantes.
O projeto Dream 8 foi construído a pensar em nós, professores, e nos nossos alunos, tão diferentes entre si. Criamos, de facto, uma articulação perfeita entre todos os componentes e acreditamos que este projeto pode efetivamente ajudar-nos a ter bons momentos em sala de aula e a criar memórias significativas e felizes nos nossos alunos. Desejamos que o próximo ano letivo seja memorável. Com a ajuda do Dream 8 e sendo este um projeto de todos nós, professores de inglês, aguardamos o vosso feedback para que juntos possamos sempre fazer mais e melhor. Let's keep dreaming together.